Hello, welcome back to Mull. Um, the conditions today are quite horrendous. I think this will go out today, and if you've been out and about, today's Friday, um, you'll know that it's blowing a hoolie and absolutely chucking it down. So I thought I'd come indoors today for your message from Mull. And today's message is about habit tracking, and basically what is rewarded is repeated and what is punished is avoided. Now then, when it comes to habits, things that are obvious, attractive and easy are habits that are more likely to be carried out this time. And we've talked a lot about that recently. But in order to complete the habit loop, we need to make these habits satisfying. So the things that we're trying to do to improve our health and well-being, we need to make them satisfying to ourselves in order to repeat them and keep going. And it's not just any form of satisfaction. Now don't worry, I'm not going to break into any sort of Rolling Stones sing-along here. Oh, my computer's just... There we go, we have extra light. What we're after is a particular form of satisfaction, which is immediate satisfaction, or often referred to as immediate gratification. Now, what am I on about? So if you were, let's say, an animal on Mull, that's one of the eagles or otters or deer, you are constantly moving around and trying to make decisions that produce an immediate outcome, an immediate reward. And many animals are geared up for this, so that the actions they take regarding finding food or shelter on a day like today, or avoiding predation, for example, avoiding being somebody else's food, they all have an immediate outcome. And we refer to this as an immediate return environment. Humans, on the other hand, used to be like that, but we have now created environments of delayed return. Now, if you think about it, things like, say when you're working, your wages, they don't come to the end of the month. So we do the work now, but we don't see the outcome till later. We don't get the reward and the satisfaction till later on. Things like exercise that we're trying to promote, often it takes a while before you see the benefits of that exercise. It will take time before you start to feel fitter. Hopefully you start to feel better mentally straight away, but the actual physical fitness can take some time. And if you start to eat more healthy meals, it could be some time before you start to see the weight loss. Or for example, if you're saving money for retirement, then that may take many years to start enjoying the fruits of your labor. So we've developed this sort of delayed return environment for ourselves. And the problem is, we're a bit like the otters and the eagles, really. We've evolved in that way, and our ancestors would have been making decisions based on shelter, on food, and that sort of instant gratification has stayed with us. And this is the problem when it comes to things. Let's pick a couple of nice easy things like smoking. So I'm not saying smoking's easy, by the way, to give up, but for someone who's a smoker, I would say most people who smoke these days are very aware that in 5, 10, 15 years time, there is a high risk that they will develop lung cancer. But right now, what they get from the cigarette is a reduction in their anxiety, their stress, and they have that need fulfilled, that need for nicotine and that addiction to nicotine. So what they get in the immediate term starts to outweigh what may be possible in the future. So we place a higher value on what we can get right here, right now, than what may be possible in the future. That's how we've evolved, unfortunately. Now, the other issue is perhaps overeating. So right now, you know that will make you satisfied, and if you're eating some form of, like say, chocolate or something like that, it's gonna make you feel good for a short period of time. The problem is obviously that long term we're developing obesity and all those sort of health risks that come along with that. So the problem is that a lot of our habits that are linked to health and well-being, the sort of stuff that we're promoting at Healthy Options, they're less enjoyable right now for many people. And they are, so basically the cost of our good habits is in the present, the cost of our bad habits is in the future. So what we need to try and do is link in to that immediate gratification. How can we use that to our advantage to make the habits that we want to do today, the more healthy habits, more satisfying? And one way of doing that may be to start tracking your habits and your outcomes. So the simplest way of doing that will be to use a calendar or something like that, or put a list on the wall. Put it somewhere that's easy to see for yourself so that you're not going to forget about it in the immediate future. And it could be simple, just putting a big X in a day where you're active, or if you're trying to eat more healthy, if you have a good day of nutrition, you put a cross in there. And then the key is to just not to break the chain, to start form chains of X's on the calendar where you've had one good day followed by another, and then don't break the chain. And these sort of visual cues for us are really important. And if somebody else can see them in the house, you're more likely to keep them going because there'll be more pressure on yourself. It sort of keeps you a bit more honest. And what we find is that people that track their habits, whether it be their activity rate or their nutrition, or even saving money and stuff like that, they're far more likely to succeed. In some cases, twice as more likely to succeed. And the other thing is, if you're having a particularly bad day, it's a visual representation of how you've been doing up to that point. So it sort of reminds you of all the hard work and the progress that you have made up to that point. And basically, when you get up in the morning, if you can see there's an empty square there for today, so say you get up today, it's Friday, and you see Friday's empty, there's the possibility of putting a cross in there to say that you've done your walk in the morning, for example, or it gets left empty. And that can help to motivate you to be active, to go and get your walk done, even on a day like today. I was on the bike this morning, by the way, soaked to the skin, but I got it done. So this might just help you to keep focused on the process and not the desired outcome at the end, which sometimes can be a little bit overwhelming for some people. So it helps us to keep moving forward. And for example, if you're trying to get a bit fitter, it will help you form that identity as somebody who doesn't miss workouts, who gets to the gym on a regular basis, who does their walks in the morning on a regular basis. And when you complete your behavior, so when you've done your exercise, write it down straight away, get it on the calendar as soon as you can, because then that starts to form part of the routine and the ritual. So as soon as the behavior is completed, you put the mark down. And what you might just find is that leads to something else positive. So once you've made that cross after your morning walk, that might just lead to having a nice healthy breakfast. That may lead to something else further on down the line during the day, which is a positive, a benefit to you, something that's going to get you closer to where you want to be. You find often if you start the day badly, it starts to tumble and you get that domino effect where it may lead to bad food choices and no activity that day. Now, we're going to try and keep that streak going. We're going to try not to break the chain, but inevitably good streaks come to an end. And what we'll talk about the next time is what happens if we have a bit of a pitfall and things go wayward, and how can we get back on track as soon as possible. Let's hope the weather picks up over the weekend, guys, and enjoy it. Bye-bye.